Hi friends, welcome back to our day 2 of Best Fabrics for Summer with Ellie and Mac, sponsored by So English Fabrics. If you missed yesterday, that link is in the announcements. You can go ahead and go watch that as well. Yesterday we talked about cotton fabrics and why those are fantastic for sewing for summer, and all of the characteristics of the fabric, a little bit of care tips, those kinds of things. Today we are going to be talking about rayon fabrics. And there is a lot of similarities and a lot of differences between rayons and cottons and why they are both fantastic for summer. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Thank you so much for joining me, and always leave comments and questions if you have any of those on the video. So rayons, similar to cottons that we talked about yesterday, are also a natural fiber, and rayons are made from wood pulp. Now you'll see a lot of people say that they are very particular to natural fibers over synthetic fibers like polyester because of the properties that natural fibers give. And that includes primarily the fact that they are very good for breathability and wicking. Now wicking is really important in the summer because it will pull moisture and heat kind of away from the body, and it'll help keep you really cool, which if you are sewing summer garments, that's something that you want to look for. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and dive into some of the more technical aspects of the fabric. So cotton and rayon, both, we talked about, are natural fibers. So what's great about that is that they are better for if you've got sensitive skin. Now do keep in mind, depending on how sensitive you are to the fabrics that you are wearing, cotton is hypoallergenic. So if you have very sensitive skin, that's probably what you're going to want to go with. Rayon is a natural fiber. Rayons are all made from wood pulp, but you do want to be aware that rayons in the development process of the fabric are treated with chemicals. So if that is something that you cannot have on your skin, then be aware that it is a chemical process that goes into making a rayon fabric. Both of these, because they are made from natural fibers, are really fantastic for being environmentally friendly and environmentally conscious. If sustainable sewing is something that is important to you, know that because cotton and rayons are both made from natural fibers, they are biodegradable. So as far as sustainable sewing goes and being environmentally conscious, they're both really good options. Rayons are typically a lighter weight fabric. So this, for example, is a pinstripe, and it is a rayon that I have from So English. And what I love about rayons is they have fantastic drape. You can see the movement in this is wonderful, and that's what makes rayons really wonderful for dresses, especially in the summer. Now it has a bit of a cooler touch to it, which is also really nice in the summer, whereas a polyester is going to be a bit warmer, especially once you put it on. They don't breathe quite as well. So rayons are really fantastic that way. Now, one of the downfalls to a rayon fabric is that they are not quite as durable, especially as cotton. So if you're looking for natural fabrics and you want durability, if you're sewing for maybe the guys or the kids or anyone in your life, then you want to keep in mind that a rayon isn't going to be quite as durable. That being said, I have made clothes for both my husband and my son out of rayon fabrics, and they're great. The only thing is they don't quite, the stretch is fantastic, they're super comfortable, but they don't have the bounce back that a cotton has. Now cotton is really well known for being very durable. We went into that a little bit more in depth yesterday. Now a rayon is going to be really fantastic, but it's not going to quite have that bounce back in the shape. So over the course of the day, you might have a little bit more loosening of your garment, and that is why this tee I made out of this pinstripe fabric, obviously. And this is the Everyday Tee by Ellie and Mac. And I really love it for tees because you have this really nice drape to it. And so you wouldn't want to necessarily use a rayon for something that is super form-fitted. I wouldn't recommend it for maybe like the tulip dress or the Be Captivating, for example, because it doesn't have, it doesn't hold its shape as well. But something like this, which is a modified sunny day dress, it's perfect. Now you can see that the gathering here around the waist, it is a nice thin fabric, so it gathers really nicely without any bulk, and it hangs really, really well. It flows really well. You get a lot of really good movement with the rayon. And like I said, this is the sunny day dress, so it is lined, and I hacked it to have a lower neckline and also straps. If you guys are interested in how to do a hack to add spaghetti straps instead of the thicker straps, then just let me know in the comments below. We can always do a blog post on that. But again, because this is out of rayon, it's the perfect flowy summer dress, but you want to be aware of a couple of things. If you're doing something like gathers, especially for maxi length dress, then you want to reinforce where the gathers or the weight is going to be held up with clear elastic. And that is because if all of this weight of all of this fabric is pulling down on this bodice, it could stretch it, which you don't want, because then it's going to be really low and it's going to kind of lose its shape over the course of the day. So you want to reinforce it. The other thing that I did on this particular dress is, because the sunny day dress is a lined dress, for the lining, and this is a little tip for you guys, I used power mesh. Now power mesh is great, and you can find that also on different meshes on the So English website, and that is really great because it has a lot of structure to it. So using that in conjunction with a rayon is going to help hold the shape a little bit better than rayon would just on its own. So some pattern recommendations for rayons, like we talked about, looser fitting garments, t-shirts, the basic tee, the everyday tee, the discoverer tee, the chill tee, those kinds of things are going to be really, really great for rayon fabrics. Dresses are phenomenal in rayon. So the sunny day dress, the Be Graceful, the Be Dreamy that just came out with the really pretty fluttery sleeves, that would be perfect for a rayon. If you, like I mentioned, if you are doing gathering around the waist, I highly recommend to reinforce those seams with clear elastic, and that is because it will help hold the weight up. The sunny day tee, those kinds of, or the sunny day dress, this one, the Monday morning that just launched, is also gathered around the waist. Be fantastic for rayon. Again, I highly recommend going into the Ellie and Mac group, and if you go over to photos and then to albums, you can see we've got albums now for every one of the patterns that is releasing, and you can see all of the testers and what type of fabric they used. So you can go in for the Monday morning dress, for example, that just launched yesterday, and see the people that did make it in rayon and kind of the shape that that gives, and how different fabrics look on the body. Now rayon is going to really flow nicely against the body, but what's great is you're not going to have that static that you're going to get from maybe some synthetic fabrics. And I should clarify, because rayon is generally considered a synthetic because of the development process of making the fabric, but it is made from a natural fiber. So it's, a lot of people will call it a semi-synthetic fabric. It's kind of one of those things where it's the best of both worlds. But I digress. So you can go into those albums and see how it's going to hang against the body, and that is a fantastic resource for seeing what the rayon in a certain pattern is going to look like versus if you made it in cotton versus if you made it in polyester. So go ahead and check those out. So I did read in my research that rayon actually was one of the first man-made fabrics, and it was actually developed as a less expensive alternative to silk. Now you think of silk, silk is obviously a woven fabric. So when we talk about rayons, just like when we talk about cottons, you can have both knit and woven versions of each fabric. So if you can look at the stretch percentages that are listed in the fabric descriptions, and that's going to tell you, it'll also tell you if it is a woven fabric. So just be aware of that when you're looking at different rayons and what fabric you want to purchase for the project that you're making. Another important thing to remember when you are working with rayons is they are more delicate than cottons are. So because you have the nice thin, really stretchy, really flowy characteristic to it, it isn't going to be quite as durable. And so that factors into how you care for your fabric. Now rayons, cottons for example, yesterday we talked about the durability of cottons. Rayons you're going to want to be more careful when you're washing, for example. I would never wash a rayon with hot water. You always want to use lukewarm or cold water. And you also want to, personally, I like to line dry if possible because you can get pilling in a rayon because it is more delicate. So it's important to know that you don't want to wash your rayons if you're washing them in a washer, for example. You don't want to wash them with very rough fabrics. You never want to wash them with jean, terry cloth, those kinds of things because you will get pilling. And that's where you get kind of that fuzzy look. You can get like the little globs of fibers on top. And you can always get a razor or like a sweater shaver or something like that. I've got a little electric one that I think I got from Bed Bath & Beyond a few years ago. And you always want to be careful with those types of things because if you bite the fabric, it could create a hole. But you can shave off some of those, pills and that kind of thing because over time, and that's just about any fabric, you're going to see some signs of wear. But rayon specifically, because it is a delicate fabric, you can see those sooner if you don't have the proper care for your fabric. And that is why blends are fantastic again. So where you've got a cotton modal, which is a cotton rayon, you're going to get a bit more durability than you would have with just a plain rayon. One other side note to note, and I did forget to mention this yesterday as far as care goes, is that you do want to be aware that natural fibers can shrink. So it is always really important to pre-wash your fabrics because if you don't and you sew something up, it can shrink unevenly due to the natural fibers. It's just part of how it goes with working with natural fabrics. And so it can shrink unevenly and then you're going to have kind of a warped garment. So I know a lot of people ask questions in the LA Mat group of what fabrics to pre-wash. Generally speaking, it's a good idea to always pre-wash all of your fabrics, even if that's on just a really quick, delicate cycle. It's better to pre-wash them however it is that you're going to wash your clothes. And that is because it'll expose it to the same elements, the same water temperature, that kind of thing, and you're going to have better retention of the shape of your garment if you pre-wash everything. Another thing is, if you've ever seen fabrics come in from distributors and that kind of thing, they are really dirty. So that's another reason why it is great because they are exposed, when they come in on the docks or wherever it is that fabrics are coming from, because a lot of times they are produced in other countries, they do get really dirty, and so you always want to pre-wash them too. It's just a good idea all around. Okay, well that wraps up day 2 of rayons for our best fabrics for summer event. I hope this gave you some helpful information for your next sewing projects and being able to evaluate different types of fabric and what is going to be best for the project that you are making. And go ahead and head over to Sew So English's website and then look at the patterns on ellieandmac.com, and we look forward to sewing with you. Go ahead and share all of those makes in our Facebook group. We love to see them. Thank you so much, and we will see you tomorrow.